Hi everyone, my name's Rose and I'm from Sculpt.
And I'm Naomi from Wool and the Gang, and today we're going to be showing you how to make this raffia hanging clay planter using our collaborative kit. The plant hanger is made up of 4 long cords and 2 shorter cords which form the knots at the top and the bottom. These are made by crocheting a chain. So to do this, we're going to take our spool of Ra-Ra Raffia and we're going to take the inside end and the outside end and crochet those together. So you'll also need a pair of scissors and a tape measure for this. So I'm going to start by cutting the pieces of yarn that hold the spool together and then carefully pulling those out. And then I can find the inside end and then removing the cardboard from around the outside and then pulling on the outside end to loosen that knot. And now I have my 2 ends of Ra-Ra Raffia and I can make a slip knot. So to do the slip knot, you want to fold your yarn into a loop like that, hold it with your finger and thumb at the crossover point, then thread your other finger and thumb through the hole, pull through the yarn, and then pull on the short end to tighten. Once you have a loop that looks something like this, you can pop your crochet hook inside that loop and then pull on the ends to tighten. And now you're ready to start crocheting your chain. So now I'm going to show you how to work chain stitch. So you have the slip knot on your hook already, and then you want to take the yarn in your left hand. I like to put it around my first finger just to give it a bit of tension. And then you want to move the hook under the yarn until it goes around like that. And then you pull the hook down towards your slip knot, catching both strands of the yarn in the groove, and then pull it through the stitch. Once your chain is the correct length, you can then cut your yarn, leaving approximately a 15 centimetre length. And then you just want to pull on the hook until the end pops through to secure the last stitch. So you repeat that until you have 4 long chains and 2 short chains. Once you've made all of your crochet chains, you want to take your 4 long chains and you want to secure your triggering to something. Then you want to thread your ends of your 4 chains through the loop and then pull them so they are equal length with the other end. So you should have 8 strands of equal length coming out of your triggering. Now you're ready to do your first knot at the top. You want to take one of your shorter crochet chains and you want to hold it in a U shape with the shorter end on the left and place that on top of your chains. So then you want to start wrapping and then once you're at the bottom, you want to thread the end of your shorter chain through that loop at the bottom of your V, and then pull both ends of the shorter chain gently to secure the knot, and the end of that knot should just disappear behind the wraps so you can't actually see where it's fastened. And then once you're done, you can cut the ends to secure it. So now your wrap knot is secure, I'm going to show you how to make the overhand knots. These are what forms the base of the part where your pot's going to sit. So to do this, you want to separate your 8 long strands into 4 sets of 2. And then we're going to take the first set of 2 and tie our first knot. So you want to measure 40 centimeters down from the bottom of the wrap knot. And that's where you're going to start your knot. So you loop the yarn around and then simply pull the long part through that loop and then pull it to secure. And then once all your 4 knots are done, it should look something like that and you should have them in a nice row. To make this size of hanger, you want your knots to be about 5 centimeters apart. So you want to measure 5 centimeters down from the last row of knots. And then this time, you want to take 1 strand from each of the 2 knots you've got above, like that, and tie those together. So it's the same knot that we just did, and then you want to pull it tight, making sure that it's the correct distance from the previous one. And then you want to repeat that for the remaining pairs of your crochet chain. So you've got 4 knots on this layer as well. You're going to repeat that process twice more to create 2 more layers below. Each one is going to be 5 centimeters below the previous one. So once you've done your 4 layers of knots, it should look something like that. So now I'm going to do the second wrap knot, which just forms that solid base at the bottom of the hanger. So it's exactly the same as before. Now to tidy up, you can trim the bottom to whatever length you want. And there you go, that's your finished plant hanger.
So now that we've made our macrame hanger, we can start making our clay plant pot. When you've got your clay out of the packet, all that we're going to do is break off about 3/4 of the clay. Once you've done that, we're going to start rounding out our 3/4 of clay into a ball. So once you've got a nice spherical ball of clay, we can start turning it into our pinch pot plant pot. So to start with, I'm just going to take my ball of clay in the palm of my hand, and then with my thumb on my other hand, I'm just going to press that midway into the ball of clay so that it has a dip in it. To make a pinch pot, we use a pinching process, which is where the name comes from. So I'm going to take my thumb and my index finger and put my thumb on the inside of my pot, and with my index finger, I'm going to pinch around the walls of the ball. And with your thumb on the inside, try pushing outwards from the center of your pot to help really open up the base of your plant pot. Now, once you've got your rough pinch pot shape, like this, you might like to round out the bottom of it a little bit more. So I'm going to put my pinch pot on my work surface, and then with one hand just rotate it around on its base. Because we're putting it in our macrame hanger, it doesn't need to be a totally flat bottom that can sit on any surface. We can have a nice round bottom so that it looks really slick in the vase. So once you've got a rough plant pot shape that you're happy with, then you can start thinking about tidying up the top of your pot. So I'm going to use my ribbon tool for this, and I'm going to use the flat side of the triangular end to trim the top of my pot and peel off excess ribbons of clay. So you'll end up with little rough bits like this. And with that, we can just start smoothing those over with our finger and blending them out onto our pot. Now I'm going to go in with the round end of my ribbon tool and just scoop out any excess clay in there to give it a nice, clean inside rim. And again, once you've neatened it up, just go back in with your finger and smooth out any rough, lumpy areas. Once your piece is completely dry, then you can go on to paint and seal it. Now, we would definitely recommend sealing your plant pot with at least a couple of layers of sealant to help make it a little bit more water resistant and protect it from any moisture from your plant. We hope you've enjoyed learning how to make your macrame plant hanger.
We'd love to see your different creations, so please tag us online @WoolInTheGang and @SculptIt.
And thanks so much for watching, everyone.